that foamed over a little bit.
Tent stuff.
Tent stuff, baby.
Yep.
What you don't know is it's been raining, and what you haven't heard is I've been braining, and I've been rapping, and I've been snapping my fingers to my bro Jake's toes tapping. Ladies and gentlemen, Is That Your Kid Volume 2, Episode 5, Episode 25, Let's Sleep in a Tent.
That's it. That's the episode name.
And one of your co-hosts, Todd the Bod, the pain attack mania, the panic attack,
and the brainy,
the panic attack maniac, the McKeesport Slender Man, with my lovely other co-host, Jake Birdbrain Jr., Birdman Jr., and the Angel Boy sitting across this lovely tent.
In a tent. Episode 5, Volume 2.
Let's sleep in a tent. What you guys do not know is a couple hours ago, well, unless you're friends with us on Instagram, follow me at Todd Tondera on Instagram.
Don't.
You would see that we planned a fireside podcast for this evening.
It would have been great, and it was great.
And it was rained out. It was rained out. We actually got, 5 minutes into the last podcast?
Until it started storming, and we were in danger. Our laptops almost were ruined.
Our laptops, and I was more concerned about the microphones not getting covered in water, but our laptops were, the top of them were covered in water, and we put them in front of Jake's old-ass fan and dried them out. And so Jake said, you want to sleep in a tent and record the podcast in the tent? And you can't see us right now, but we're drinking some beer. We're hanging out in his tent. I don't got a shirt on.
Oh, wow.
I don't have a shirt on right now, but we're in Jacob's backyard. No, one person doesn't have a shirt, and by the end of this, probably 2 people won't have a shirt.
How's it going, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. This is already going to be a great thing.
So much to get to.
We got blankets
so
down.
Much to talk about.
We got soggy clothes in here.
I feel like moist. Like my skin feels.
Your fins are getting moist.
My fins. You're the one that's been to Atlantis, bro. I haven't.
Hey man, I've talked to salamanders. Get at me.
But I'm in some swim trunks, no shirt. I'm on a 101 Dalmatians blanket, drinking a Keystone with my bro over there.
Yeah, I guess what kind of blanket good. I'm on. Gargoyles, even though I would prefer the Dalmatians, so I'm just saying. I used to love that. I used to have a Dalmatian. His name was Lucky, and he got so ratty as a young child. He got so ratty that we had to get another one, and I never liked him as much.
Yeah.
Obviously, and I named the new Dalmatian Pancakes.
Plural.
Yeah, well, pancakes. Depends on how I'm feeling that day.
That's great.
I never loved pancakes as much as Lucky.
Secret reveal, Dad Zerme, if you're listening, and we appreciate your listening, he didn't like that dog as much.
Who? Speaking of my dad, he helped me with my ice bucket challenge. That's right, I got nominated.
I saw that.
By Ryan Novakovich, who was with us in episode 4, volume 2, last week while we were in New York City. Big shout out to Ryan.
Yeah, letting us stay there.
He nominated for me for the ice bucket challenge. Whatever, but. Big shout out to Ryan. Big shout out to everyone we hung out with in New York City.
Absolutely.
That was a absolutely fantastic time.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best time you could have in 2.5 days.
Yeah, I agree.
We went to great shows in the evening. We had our days free.
Hung out with friends in the day.
In the day. I made some interesting purchases that you weren't sure that
Yeah, your New York purchases.
So Todd and I, we walked around New York City. Basically, I feel like I could live there and get around now.
Yeah,
we did it. We took subways on our own.
No, we didn't do a perfect job, but we did an okay job.
For the first time doing it on our own, we did just fine. Ryan trained us up.
That was my 3rd time doing it on my own, so I should have been better.
Well, you were kind of nervous about the
whole thing. I was
You're like,
nervous.
are you sure we're getting off on the right spot?
Dude,
I'm like, I got this.
That's me, though. I was so nervous about the whole thing.
So we had a great time. I just want to tell you a little bit about the end of our trip as we're getting... As we were leaving, as we're ready to get back on the megabus to come back to Pittsburgh so I can make it to the Seams show on time here in Pittsburgh, We wake up in a responsible amount of time. Our friend Ryan goes to work.
Yeah.
We get all our things together. We pack our bags.
Mm-hmm.
We're ready to go. We're thinking...
Jake thought I forgot my flask, and I didn't. Remember that? You're like, you forgot? And I was like, no, got it.
Nope, he got it. So we're getting ready. We're ready to go. We even had enough time to get there and walk and get somewhere to eat.
Yeah.
Get something to eat. So we mosey on down to the nearest subway station, only to find out that it is closed.
It's closed.
The closed it's ever been. The most closed it's ever been.
I'm sure.
Look, when things go wrong and it's not my fault, I instantly get mad.
We should talk about that, because that was... But go on, finish that, but we'll capitalize on that.
So the subway was closed. From our standpoint, we had no idea why. A fire? I don't know. Anyway, it was closed. I'm in freak out mode because we have a nice cushion of time to get to the megabus.
Yeah.
On 34th, was it? But not a lot. So I'm like, oh, damn it. So
we were at 136, and we had to go. We were at 136, and we had to go to 34th in 11.
So I asked the subway lady, who seemed like indignant that I was even asking for help. I'm like, listen, we're not from here. Can you please help us? How do we get to 34? She's like, oh, just take
a bus,
a shuttle. She said there's a shuttle running, and just take it to the nearest train station. So we're like, okay. So we ride it to 90th or 96. Then we take this train, and we get there. End of the story. We get there fine.
Yeah.
But it was pretty nerve-wracking up to that point. Very nerve-wracking experience. Mm-hmm. I was scared that we were going to miss it the whole time.
I wasn't really scared at that point. If you,
you had done it before, and I didn't know where we got let off or where we found the megabus.
Yeah.
The megabus was late leaving anyway, so we could have just walked. But we
were late getting to Pittsburgh. We were late getting to Pittsburgh by at least an hour, just because of the delay of the when we left. But it's kind of interesting because we kind of sat on that bus and we kind of like realized it. Because part of the podcast is realizing one another's personality flaws and dealing with those. We kind of realized that we kind of talked out loud. Jake had mentioned, he said, when something goes wrong and it's out of my hands, I panic. And I said, well, that's the exact opposite of me. I was like, if something that I feel like it is my responsibility or in my hands, that's when I panic. So we leveled each other out throughout the trip because, like, if it was in somebody else's hands, Jake was panicking. I was like, it's okay. We'll get there. And I was chill. I even stopped at a Subway restaurant to eat. 2 of them. 2 Subway restaurants.
I nixed the first one. I'm like, hey, we're too far away.
Yeah.
I'm kiboshing this one.
We were going to walk into the first one, and Jake didn't say no, but he was like, and I was like, that means no for Jake. Because Jake is not like a yes or no person. He's like a sure or I don't think so person. He's not a yes or no person. So when he says sure, that's like an apathetic yes. And I don't know is an apathetic no. So like he was like, I don't think so. I was like, we're out. So we went to the next Subway restaurant. I keep saying restaurant because we keep saying Subway as if it's like just a train. But we went to that one, and that was all good. And Jake is laying down with his microphone above his nose. And this is what I like. The microphone has been so close to his mouth.
I think it's going to be good. I don't think...
Anytime a microphone is close to anyone's mouth, that's how you're supposed to record anything, not far away.
Well, I'm going to hold it, so we're good to go.
Okay, just hold it. You guys should see this. The kids in the is that your kid universe right now. I don't want to Instagram this because it won't show up, but as I said, let's sleep in a tent, and we are sleeping in the tent.
Let's sleep in a tent.
End
of the story. We made it to the bus just fine, and it
was
a great
time.
I had more fun on the way back in the bus than on the way there.
Yeah,
we should talk about Frank.
Oh yeah.
We had a great bus driver named Frank. He was at the end.
The residuals.
He was at the end of what seemed like his megabus career. Because while at the same time he was a very responsible...
That's what I said!
He was a very responsible driver. Todd said he's at the end of his career,
I was just
we'll
like,
get into why.
I was like, I think he's on his way out, huh? And you're like, what? I was like, his way out.
Well, we said that at the end of the trip because Frank, the megabus guy, he told us to call a number since we were late. He said, and just so you know, if you call this number, 555-4242... You could tell them that you were 2 hours late and you could get your money back. And he said it just like that in a sing-song.
Yeah.
You could get your money back, like just like that. And it was so crazy that a megabus driver was like selling out his company.
You remember what he said after that? His name was Frank, and he just said, "I'm just being frank."
He said, "I'm gonna be frank with you." Who says that?
I don't even
like if you said that or if I said that, that's fine. But if you say that phrase, you have to know that your name is Frank.
Yeah.
You have to know.
That was the best.
Oh.
But on Wednesday, we saw the Chris Gethard show, 11 p.m. at M&N Studios. Went to Lincoln Park, the bar afterwards. And that was one of my favorite parts. Lincoln Park, the bar, was one of my favorite parts because we met up with my friend Jamie and Jamie's friend Sophie, who I don't believe I've met before. And Jamie and Sophie were thinking about creating a podcast. And Jamie was like, ooh, I want Sophie to talk to you guys so you guys can network.
So
and
we
then
can
Sophie
impart all our bad knowledge onto her about how to fail.
Yeah, and then Sophie came over. And I think she was at least a little bit drunk. And we were just like, thanks for networking with us. And then Thursday, what did we do Thursday? Oh, we went to Union Hall.
Thursday is the day where we walked around like
a lot.
Crazy person.
Yeah, and Jake bought a burned CD off a vendor for $5. It had a jazz mix, I believe, and Jake is one that's kind of, he doesn't like spending money, especially if he doesn't have to, which I kind of understand somewhat, but it was just like he bought a burned CD off a vendor that he was really into at the time.
I was still into it. I've listened to that CD in my car.
Did it work?
The CD works.
Nice. We were worried.
That guy, he knew his stuff, and I could tell that he had good tastes in jazz music.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I trust you, and I trust. Basically, he made mixtapes for everybody.
Yeah.
And what he was doing is, he made these mixes, and he had a lot of artists that I dug that were on there. Like, I'm not really a Dizzy Gillespie guy, but he had some Miles on there, and he had like Clifford Brown, who's this trumpet player who died in a car crash. But yeah. He was really good. If he wouldn't have died, he would be a household name, and I'll say that on this podcast.
Ooh, he made an
Clifford
imperative
Brown
statement.
Would have been
Jake
better.
doesn't make many imperative statements, so take note.
He would have been something, but he died. So. I dug it, and Todd was flabbergasted that I bought this.
Burn CD.
Were you impressed that I haggled him?
I wasn't impressed because I knew that you would, because you're an American. I would haggle if him.
It was a burn CD, and he was like, "Yeah, $7." And I started looking through all the CDs, and once I found the one I want, I was like, "It's $5, right?"
And then he's like, "Yeah,
I'll give it to you."
That was fantastic. I thought that was a great move there. So that was Thursday, and then we went to Union Hall. We hung out with some people there. Jamie was there again. Jamie was hanging out with a big... That's what I should have mentioned. At the Gethard show, when I was there, Jamie had rubbed somebody's head thinking that it was me, and then walked over to me and was like, I thought that was you over there.
He walked right by both of us. I saw him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that's Jamie. And he walked right by us. And there was a guy that kind of looked like you.
He did.
And
he rubbed that guy's head.
Like a two-piece, like a jacket, like a suit jacket on. And he went over there and like rubbed his head. And then he realized that he had made a terrible mistake. And he's like, I just rubbed the guy's head, and I thought it was you. So that was good.
And then Friday we went to the UCB Theater and saw the Stepfathers perform, which I feel like was fantastic, just because I was hoping that you and Ryan both liked it a lot, and you seem like you did.
Hey man, if something's good, I like it no matter what it is.
I
have respect for things that are good. They asked for like, hey, we need inspiration to like start us off.
Improv, bro.
And someone was like, potato bread, and they went off for about 40 minutes
on potato bread, and then gargoyles actually was the second one.
No, samurai sword.
Why did I say gargoyle? Oh, somebody yelled gargoyle. I yelled gargoyles.
Why did he say that?
Do you remember I yelled gargoyles? Were you at the seat when I yelled gargoyles?
No, I was at the
bar. You were getting beer.
And
I yelled gargoyles.
I yelled elbow grease from the bar, and the bartender made fun of me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I yelled gargoyles.
She
That's
was like,
not
really?
a lie.
I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, it was worth a shot,
sword.
Right?
Yeah, it was samurai sword.
It was a katana or samurai sword.
Yeah, but I did yell gargoyles. That's weird.
But
Sick,
I was
dude.
impressed with the fact that I love it when artists bring it full circle and they bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
So like when they were bringing jokes back that happened a half an hour earlier, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is great. This is great.
Seasoned.
A lot of
They're
respect.
seasoned.
A lot of respect.
Seasoned
I can
professionals.
See why SNL and all those people coming straight from there.
That's basically where they start, and some of them finish there too. They come back there.
How much were those tickets?
$10.
I'd
$10
I'd
plus
go there
tax.
pretty often, at least once a month.
$10 plus tax. Yeah. I mean, I bought the tickets, but you did pay for them.
I know, I paid for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, they're $10, but I mean, there's a lot of teams there. Alex, who was on our podcast last week.
He has his own.
Yeah, he has a team as well. But New York, man, I think all in all was a success, and I'm actually going back in October.
For what? What? I didn't know that. That's news to me.
Yeah, it's a Thursday and Friday. I'm going to see Elkline Trio, and
there you go. I mean, I guess if you have a tattoo, you have to go see a band that's far away.
Yeah, they're playing 2 nights in a row, and they're playing their discography, but they're playing the first half the first night, and the second half the second half.
Bro, that's a lot of songs.
I'm not saying I don't. Well, here's the thing. That's kind of a lie. They said throughout 2 nights they're going to play their discography. So like whether I don't know what they're going to play the first night or second night, but they're in those 2 nights they're going to get through it, and they've had a whole big catalog. So I hope that you know, I haven't made concrete plans of where I'm going to stay, but it's going to be a Thursday and Friday.
You should hit up Alex. I'm sure he'd be cool with that.
Yeah, or I mean even Ryan again, Jamie, who I used to stay with. Jamie is so cool to stay with because Jamie has cats, and Jamie's. Anytime I've stayed with Jamie
said he was gonna talk shit on us to his cats.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, he always does. He's talked shit on me to many people before.
That's good.
But in a joking manner, I think.
Yeah, no, he's awesome.
Yeah, I love that, bro. But so that was New York, and I'm glad that, of course, you downloaded the podcast and subscribed on iTunes. Is that your kid? You've also reviewed. You've done all of that. You've put a nice review for us on iTunes. You've made an iTunes account just to do that. So I'm glad that I could, a presumptive close, if you will. We were talking about presumptive closes, and maybe we can make that an ongoing bit in the show. But shukran to you. Shukran to everybody.
Shukran to everyone
who's downloaded the podcast. But you can hit us up is that your kid on Twitter, isthatyourkid.podomatic.com, isthatyourkid.tumblr.com, and also is that your kid on YouTube. Search us. Sleazy E is doing that. But again, we are sleeping in a tent tonight. We are glad to be podcasting from this tent. I'm feeling really good. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 7. And I don't get 8. I don't get to the 8 scale too much. This is all in the voice. I'm not really this happy.
Pretty high number for Todd. He doesn't get that. He doesn't get there too often.
This is all in the voice, folks.
Oh, man. Did we cover everything from MIC? We ate some pretty cool ramen.
What is MIC?
NYC.
Oh, NYC.
Oh, man. Sorry.
We ate ramen. MIC, Mickey, MICKEYMOUSE.
We had a pretty fun time at MIC.
Yeah, Mixburgh. We'll go Mixburgh next time. Mixburgh, if you live in Mixburgh.
Mick York City.
Oh boy, is that your kid at yahoo.com? If you live in Mixburgh, let us know. If your name is Mick, let us know. But
how about that?
Since it is dark out, since we are in a tent, I want to apologize to Dave Number 1, aka Dave H, for putting this off for a couple of weeks because we just had some stuff get in the way. I know you've been a loyal listener since episode 1. Episode 1 he's been listening to.
Yeah.
And he was at the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Yeah.
So let's get this going, baby.
We've hyped this for weeks.
Let's get this going, baby.
Let's do it. I'm going to do my research.
Weston, West Virginia, baby. Is it haunted?
Is that your ghost? Haunted towns.
In Weston, West Virginia, on Asylum Drive, we have the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And if you listened last week, the post-credits roll of Jake talking about it, it's been our only post-credits clip that's never been in an episode. But if you listen to the post-credits clip last week, you will know that we had plans to do it last week, but we just got caught up. And with Alex's fantastic call to his mom, we had to end it on that.
You can't top that. So we had to close it. So this is the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, located right smack dab in the middle
of Weston,
West Virginia, but a little north, a little northy.
It's smack dab in the middle, but only a little bit north. But the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, Dave, number one, he's been there, and subsequently the Weston State Hospital was a Kirkbride psychiatric hospital that operated from 1864 until 1994.
Whoa, that's over 100 years.
Yeah.
You're saying that it operated for more than 100 years?
Yeah, operated from
and
1864
it was like a psych hospital
until 1994. So this is
my God.
the haunted
level. First impressions right now with what you're eating. First impressions is super haunted. You can't have a psychiatric hospital
open for more than 15 years without haunts.
Open just
until 1994, bro.
Oh, that's so long. And back in 1864. You had no regulations on what you could do to people.
No,
you just did whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's not good.
And if you live in Ferguson, Missouri, you could still do whatever either. Anyway, moving on. Now that you know my political statement for this episode, now that you know how I feel, what political lines I feel, 1864 to 1994, by the government of the United States of West Virginia in the city of Weston. Built by architect Richard Andrews, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum was constructed from 1858 to 1881. It was originally designed to hold 250 people. It became overcrowded in the 1950s with 2,400 patients. Yeah.
So what is that, 1,000% more than it should have been
So
holding?
It was built for 250 crazy people, and it had 2,400 crazy people.
Man.
It was forcibly, and that's such a weird word, because that word, when you say forcibly, it means someone had taken liberties. Somebody had taken liberties.
Todd loves liberties.
I don't love liberties.
No,
I'm
you
against
love it when
taking
people
liberties.
take them.
I hate when people take liberties.
You love talking about when people take them.
Yeah. I love when people talk about it. I love to talk about when people take liberties because I dislike people taking liberties. It was forcibly closed in 1994 due to changes in treatments of patients. The first to be committed was a female housekeeper. The hospital was bought by Joe Jordan in 2007 and was partly open for tours. So my boy Joe Jordan opened it up in 2007.
I wonder if he
for
goes by the name
haunted.
of JJ.
Doubt it. Haunted tours he had started in 2007. So Dave, our boy Dave H, he went on one of those haunted tours and he took some pictures of said building. So we're talking 1864 to 1994. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in Weston, West Virginia was open. That's a lot of years, brother.
That's too many years for something like that to be in use.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a long time.
Yeah.
Yo, that's that's before so many things.
Yeah.
Think about it. Before plastic was a thing, is basically when this was open.
Mm-hmm.
They had this asylum open before plastic was used in medicine.
Yeah.
So they were doing anything.
Uh-huh. And the Civil War, what was it? What did we talk about? The Civil War started in 1861, I think. Did we decide on that? That might be an ongoing bit that we don't know when the American Civil War started or ended, because we talked about that last week or the week before. I can't remember. But
wait. Yeah. Not 70. Did you say 60?
No, I said 1861. Is that when?
It was in the 60s.
Yeah, the Civil War, American Civil War.
I thought you were saying 70s. My bad. And that's not a bit. I think you're right.
Yeah. But originally designed for 250 patients in solitude. The hospital held 717 by 1880, 1,661 in 1938, over 1,800 in 1944, and at its peak, it held 2,600 in 1950. So you're talking about individuals with mental problems that need to be held in solitude. It was made for 250. So you're talking...
So that means 250 people could be in solitude.
Yeah, solitude.
Not 2,500.
A report in 1938 by survey committee organized by a group of North American medical organizations found that the hospital housed epileptics, alcoholics, drug addicts, and people who they cannot be educated. They were saying that they're non-educationable, mental defectives.
Can you imagine if there was like a just like, oh man, if there were that many more people, what do you do with like
everybody
sleeping? What do you do with like sanitation? What do you do with like
I'm gonna have a hard
waste?
time sleeping with you in this tent, let alone anything.
Wait, I found the best thing.
Holy cow, that's the loudest you've ever been on the podcast. I hope it translated well. He's on to something.
Okay, so the entire, and this might be the crux of everything we talk about
He's
here
moving
with
the mic,
this hospital.
folks. Yeah.
This might be it.
He's still moving around.
This might be it.
He's still moving around.
So, this hospital had everything it needed to stand on its own. Guess how many acres it had total, including like a garden and like things to like grow crops.
20?
How many acres?
Yeah.
No. It's pretty big. I mean.
Yeah, that's too big. That's why I said it.
Can I tell you this yet?
Yeah.
666 acres. If you're listening, that's 666 acres.
Oh no.
I'm not much on numbers, but that's too good.
That's a number that everyone knows.
That's too good to be true. So what do you think? 666 acres on the grounds of this
hospital. But what does
hospital.
it say to the town of Weston, West Virginia? This is just in the town.
Well, you got to imagine it wasn't just people of Weston. It was people from all over.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. What does it make of the town, bringing all this to the town?
It makes the town like a little Silent Hill.
What was the town that... What?
Here, can I break this down?
Yeah.
I know we're in a haunted town segment, but I want to break down what I think a ghost is. A ghost is
No, break it down. We're still going to do all this stuff.
Is something that if there's a person and they die and either A, they're really, really set in their ways and they do the same routine every single day.
So you believe in ghosts? That's the formal statement?
Day in, day
Is
out.
that a formal statement? Do you believe in ghosts?
I've not experienced anything that is...
So you're saying sure?
Sure. Sure. Yeah, sure. Either A, someone that is so set in their ways they do the same thing day in and day out for so long that even when they die, maybe like some sort of like shade or something continues on. Or B, they die suddenly, violently, and they're not sure why or how, or maybe it was just really, really violent.
Yeah.
And they're obviously not at rest. Those two things. So people that are obviously mentally defective, as the quote says in what we're reading here, they have no idea really what's happening to them. They're already tortured in life, let alone in death. So an asylum place, man, that's pretty heavy. Mm-hmm. How many lobotomies do you think happen?
I'd rather have a... Wow, what's that Tom Waits quote? I'm drunk, so I can't remember it. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.
Ooh, pretty good.
Love him.
Glad you pulled that off.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was... I remembered it, but I couldn't speak it with my own tongue, was the problem.
He borrowed someone else's tongue.
I borrowed somebody else's tongue, Blair Witch Project.
Other tongue. Man.
So, if we're talking about Weston, West Virginia, this was built in that town, bro. All that stuff going on. Nice. I didn't know you had one left. You've been saving one. What do you think? I'm gonna throw it over to you first. If you're gonna rate it out of ghosts.
I'm gonna go 4 out of 5 ghosts, dude. This is a pretty haunted place.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 ghosts.
I'm gonna actually agree with you on that. I'm gonna go 4 out of 5 ghosts.
All right, that's the first time I think we've agreed. Maybe.
I think that this may be the most haunted town that we've done so far. This harkens back to episode, I think, 18, the one that I did with Lulu. our West Coast time traveling reporter. I think we did something. Yeah, Key West was there. Surprising haunts in Key West, but 8 out of 10. Dave H, thank you for submitting that in, and sorry it took us so long to get to it. We appreciate all the emails we get.
I'm spooked. I know we're in the middle of something right now, but I want to look up pictures.
Yeah, go ahead and look up Well, Dave has some pictures that we could go ahead and put on the Tumblr.
Just later.
Yeah, we could put those on the Tumblr.
So, man, it's haunted towns. 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Well, 8 out of 10. Reduce that to a fraction. If you reduce.
Oh, I got it, Todd. Here it is.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 ghosts, like we already said.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it is, cuz.
I got it. Give me Gil.
That's why he's the brains of the organization, and I'm the bronze. Right? Who said that? Who said that this week?
That was Jamie. I think.
Jamie. Somebody said that. They were like, well, so you're the brains, and he's the bronze. And I was like...
Maybe it was Scott, the random guy who came to sit with us after the Gethard show.
Oh, yeah. Scott was from Massachusetts. He came to New York.
He went home to some pretty messed up stuff.
Yeah. He went... Yeah. And, he was,
He's thinking about moving.
Well, he was thinking about moving, and he had said that he had found an apartment the day before, so he just had a week to burn, so that's why he came to sit with us. He did something that I could never do, and that's why I respected him. We already had a crew sitting at a table, and he just came over, and he was just like, can I sit with you guys? And I was like, damn right you could sit with us, Scott. Like, he was a cool dude. I liked him.
I like Scott.
And I think we saw him later on in the week when we saw Moonhooch. He was, like, hanging out when we saw Moonhooch in the back. Remember? You're like, that looks like Scott. And I was like, I think that is Scott.
Could have been.
He was sitting on, like, the little
I just want to say, I know we didn't get a chance to really talk too much about Moonhooch last week. Because,
no, it happened after we recorded.
It happened after we recorded. Yeah. So, those guys, very cool. They just make me want to dance. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't happen too often. We got to talk to Moonhooch after their set.
And you had bought an album. They were on our show last week, so hopefully they're still out there and maybe listen to the podcast.
They got a new record coming out, so
September.
I'll probably look for that. I'll probably buy that very soon, as soon as it happens.
That would be cool, and put it together there.
Man, I'm pretty bummed out.
About?
School.
Okay.
It's almost school time.
Yeah, it is.
And I have mixed feelings.
That's why we're doing this camp out, I feel.
I'm very excited.
My arm's going to sleep. I've got to do something else.
I've been moving positions. School's back. That makes me excited.
This guy's dead. My right arm's dead.
To once again do what I like to do. But on the other hand, I also like to have a bunch of free time where I can do all the nothing I want.
Yeah.
So when school's back, I gotta drive a lot. And really, if I could just wake up, get showered, get ready, and then just be at school.
Yeah.
That would be the best thing ever. I guess anyone thinks that. I don't like driving 40 minutes and then having a whole work day. Maybe I'm a baby, but I don't feel like doing that. So if anything, I'm not bummed out to go teach. I'm bummed out because I have to drive a lot.
Yeah.
During the school year. And Mondays and Tuesdays I have about a 45-minute drive and both ways, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday I have about a half hour, 35-minute drive. But that's just what it is. Here's another thing.
I kind of have that drive too.
I was teaching a piano student who is going to first grade. We'll say his name is Luke, and he was
Harper. Luke Harper.
Luke Harper.
Luke Harper.
Yeah.
For you wrestling fans, know that that's a joke for Jake.
So he's a first grader. Luke Harper is going to first grade. He's playing piano. He's pretty good. So what I consist of my lessons, like my private lessons, I consist of like at least 70% playing. Play. You have to play for about 70% of the time. 20% of the time is just like instruction, like, oh, when you're doing it, think of it this way. Think of it this way. And I try to stay out of the mix as much as possible. Just give my critiques and give my hints and tricks, and just let them play, and I'll play with them sometimes, and well, just like playing the piano. But the other 10%, I'm just kind of talking, just kind of BSing with whoever.
Yeah.
Because they do say the darndest things, and sometimes like a little prompting help them get it out of them. So Luke Harper was telling me, about a dream he had, and I want to share that with you now.
Share it? Oh, is this what you wanted to tell me before? And I was like, stop.
Maybe.
I think it was.
I don't remember. Luke Harper had a dream about a freeze monster.
Sick, dude.
I know.
So
right off the bat, he was like, "Yo, I had this crazy dream about a freeze monster," and the whole reason that we brought up dreams is because I told him I had a dream once that I woke up for school, brushed my teeth, ate, brushed my teeth, took a shower, got ready, like brushed your hair, put on your clothes, make sure you have your backpack on, go wait at the bus stop, get picked up by the bus, go get dropped off at school. And that was all a dream. And I did all that in my dream as I normally would do. But as soon as I got off the bus to go to school, I woke up. And guess what? I had to do all of those things again.
Twice.
So it was kind of not like a nightmare, but I was kind of like, oh man, I just did this. And it felt so real. And now I have to do it again. Yeah. So I told Luke that. And he was like, immediately jumped to something about him. And he was like, oh.
Well, that's little kids.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I had this dream about a freeze monster. And he started to chuckle to himself. And I'm like, oh, really? That's pretty cool. Tell me about it. Was it scary? He's like, well, I knew it wasn't real. Is the very first thing that he said. Just so he knew that I knew that A, he wasn't a baby, and 2, and I guess B, that he wasn't scared of it. He's like, so I had this freeze monster dream and it wasn't real.
It wasn't like a Mr. Freeze
and
or a Freeze.
I asked him,
yeah.
and I was like, so what type of freeze monster? And he gave me a generic monster description, claws and teeth. And except it would shoot and breathe ice and water. Water, ice.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, that's pretty cool. And what happened? Did it chase you around? He's like, well, yeah, it was pretty scary. And you know what? He froze my deck, and I knew my dad was gonna be mad.
He froze his deck?
And
his pool deck?
At the time, he said deck, and I wasn't sure if he said deck or anything else that might be similar to deck. So I was like, excuse, what? He's like, my pool deck. I knew my dad was gonna be mad. And I was like, and I was like, oh, jeez.
So you thought he froze his cousin Derek? Wow.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, he froze my deck. And I'm like,
my deck is done.
I'm like, that's weird to say.
He had a cold deck. A big old cold deck.
And I think I didn't want to ask him exactly what he said. I'm like, so I was vague.
Yeah,
I'm like, so you mean in your backyard, right? Your backyard. He's like, yeah, my deck out back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Some people like to put their deck in the backyard.
But the funny part that I got out of it was that in his dream, he was thinking oh, my dad's gonna be mad. This freeze monster froze the deck, which I thought was so good.
Yeah.
And anyway, the end of the story is he climbed up on his roof and jumped on the zipper.
There's a zipper
because
on the roof?
freeze monsters have zippers, and what he did is he jumped on the zipper, it unzipped,
okay,
and then he just cracked up, and he said, and there was nothing but parents inside.
Nothing but parents inside
nothing but parents
inside the costume.
Inside, and immediately I thought the exact thing that he dreamt, parents stacked on top of each other's shoulders. So there were parents inside, and it was totally a Scooby-Doo moment. I would have gotten away with it too.
And everybody knows what that is. Everybody knows what a monster is when you unzip it and there's just multiple people. And there was parents inside.
And you know what? He was like, it was all my next door neighbors.
Next door neighbors.
Yeah.
It
was all the people.
They were jealous. They were jealous of his dad's big deck.
His big deck.
His big deck.
Yeah, he swaggers that deck around right before he gets in the pool.
He puts that deck right in that backyard. That big ass deck in the backyard.
A big old dick.
Big old deck. Big old deck.
Oh, you know what that just reminded me of?
Todd
and I made up a fake language while we were in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
We won't have any examples, but it was a mix of every language.
Well, I don't know if Jake would want me to say the example because, Jake said anytime I did it, he felt that it was just...
It was offensive to anyone.
Because I was like, how you say Greek? Greek?
Greek-and-a-do?
So
we were making up languages to say... as we passed people in New York City. And it wasn't really a thing, but it was funny to us at the time.
But my thing was like, I would just say, like, for example, I was like, kicking a bag.
It's so offensive.
Because like when you speak English, you say like and it's really nasally. But when you speak another language, it's always like So I was like, kicking a bag.
Tom was just say kick and then and then anything else.
Kicking a bag,
kicking a sign, kicking a bag,
kicking a vase. Remember? So basically, it was like kicking the bag, kicking the vase. There was another one, but it was always kicking. But I would just slur it
that hard. But
I just like kicking a bag, kicking a vase.
And he was saying
creaking a door, because there's so many different nationalities that in New York you could say anything and people will be like, oh, that's just something different.
No one bat an eyelash at us.
No
one.
Not a single person. That was the idea of the bit, because like no one. I would just point to something.
You just made me think of that fake language we made up.
That's pretty sweet, because I think we could, if we ever did that in Pittsburgh, it would never go anywhere. It would never go anywhere.
Yeah, it would go anywhere. We're like, excuse me, what are you saying?
Well,
but that was Zook Harper and his Freeze Monster story.
And
his dad's big old deck.
I mean, I live in Pittsburgh, and I don't know if that language would. I don't even know if we named that language, but like,
I think it just should be called creek.
Creek?
Question mark creek.
Creek in a door. But
creek seems to be our most.
But I mean, I work in Pittsburgh and I'm there, and I don't think that would like ever fly. But speaking of like working in Pittsburgh and your work, I wanted to tell you this before, but I did want to, and I guess that's a great segue. But I wanted to talk to you about like. I had, what's today? Today's Friday, right? Mm-hmm. This will go up on Sunday. So a couple days ago, everybody.
All right.
But this was, I think it was Thursday? Actually, I think it was yesterday. I think it was yesterday that this happened. No. That's a total lie. It's Tuesday. I worked from 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. And I had 3 interviews for my job. And a reminder for those who don't know, I work in college admissions in Pittsburgh. And I call people that are interested in pursuing their education, and then I set up an appointment with them. And then if all goes well, they apply, etc., and I walk them through the process. I was real excited about Tuesday because I had 3 interviews.
Okay. Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's good in one day. So I was like, I don't mind working a long day if I'm helping this many people. And 3 is a lot of people for those of you who are attempting to know like who's looking to go to school. If you find 3 people in a day looking to go to school, that's good. Anyway, but 2 of them were in default. Their loans were in default from a prior education, so there wasn't a lot to do. And one of them actually went to my university before, but they had an academic appeal. And I probably shouldn't be saying all this on the podcast, but that's okay because that's fine. But the third gentleman that I met with, do you know that like when you get like a paper cut, you're like, and then you like squeeze it until the blood comes out, like you just like push on it until the blood comes. No, okay.
I just paper cut myself opening the wine up earlier, and like on the foil up top.
Yeah.
And I just immediately left it alone.
Well, for those of you who like stub your toe or hit your knee or cut your finger and you press on it, you're like, oh my god, am I bleeding? Am I bleeding? Oh, I'm bleeding. Like that's a real thing. Well, this guy, and he was actually a sweetheart. And that's why I didn't really say much. He came in and he had like a cut on his hand.
Like open cut? Was it bandaged?
No, he had an open cut, not on the palm, but like on the reverse side of his hand, and I had saw it, and I didn't think it was too much of a big deal, because when you're conversating with people, especially when you're trying to like help them, you're not like you're not looking at their feet or their hands or anything. But I had noticed it, and we were going through the interview, and I saw him kind of like rubbing it, kind of like squeezing it a little bit
as he's talking with you?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what that is. And by the end of the interview, he had some paperwork that I had him to fill out, and he signed all the paperwork, and then, like, I don't know if I just, like, like reality kind of hit me or what was going on. But it all came to fruition when I went to shake his hand and his hand was covered in blood. And I was like, brother, you've been squeezing that cut.
Why have you been squeezing
Like, it was like, the cut was probably only a couple inches long, but I was like, you know, when you look at somebody in the eye, when you talk to them, you see other parts of them. And I saw that he was doing that, but I was like, it's not that bad. But I went to shake his hand, and it was like covered in blood. And I was like, and he was like, oh, I think I had cut myself. I was like, all right, okay. And then, like, he just, like, you know, went out the door and went back, and I was just like, I think that guy, like, cut himself at some point by accident.
Where was the cut?
It was, like, not on the, I had said this already, but not on the palm of his hand, but, like, on the reverse side. So if you're shaking his hand, it's on, like, this side.
I wasn't sure, like, on the bottom. No, it could have been, like, on the bottom. It's not necessarily
Yeah,
on the bottom.
but anyway, I go back into the interview room, and the paperwork that I had signed, covered in blood. The door handle bloody, and I was just like, they don't train you for this. I was like, this room is covered in blood.
Like, you know, wash your hands?
Well, first off, I was there till late, so there was literally only one other person still there. So I picked up the bloody paperwork and I just walked over to them, and they're like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "This is bloody. This is all bloody." And I threw it away. They're like, bloody? And I was like, look, he bled all over it, this guy, this cat.
You have to treat other people's blood as infected, even if it isn't.
Yeah,
it's like the rule.
Because, like, it was all bloody, and I was like, all right. So I threw away the stuff, and I was just like, and I didn't know at that point, but I was like, I bet you if I go back to the interview room, there's going to be some blood there. And there was blood on the handle.
Blood everywhere.
So I had, well, it wasn't everywhere, but like it was on the door handle, so I had to soap it down, and then I had to disinfect it. And I was just like, the next day when I came in and I talked to my boss, I was just like, he's like, so you had 3 interviews, like how did it go? I was like, well, two of them were, their loans were in default. One was academic probation, and the guy at the end of the night bled everywhere. And he was like, well, seems like you had a busy day. And I was just like, you know,
Great day at work.
Like, just leave me alone. Let me go back to my cubicle. But no, I do like the people that I work with, and my boss is really cool. I probably shouldn't have said all that on the podcast, but
That's okay. I'll say this to make it better. I learned how to stab kids at work.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. I learned how to I learned how to administer EpiPens, which is if a kid's having an allergic reaction.
Oh, yeah,
So it's actually not a stab. It's actually just a press, and when you press it enough, the spring-loaded needle just kind of goes through and punches through like denim
And those are the kind of conversations you have when we say, let's sleep in a tent.
Let's sleep in a tent.
Let's sleep in a tent.
Right, full circle.
Don't Trey. It's about
Not
the
that
journey.
full circle.
So, y'all, that's a very Texas thing to say. Shout out to Texas, psych. y'all who sleep in a, y'all who listen to episode 20, our clip show. Sorry about those weird characters, but we're gonna bring those back. They're not dead. But
15 more episodes, and you're gonna see.
You're gonna love that again. So I hope you download that too. But again, I mean, we appreciate everybody that listens. Thank you for downloading the podcast. Hit us up on @isthatyourkid on Twitter.
Yeah, you know what? And I just
isthatyourkid@yahoo.com.
I just want to say, if you're someone that's been listening, we'd love to hear from you, even if it's just like, hey,
good point.
I live in Connecticut and I listen. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
I don't care. Hey,
like that guy Brian that
you
emailed
that
one
your
time.
Name. You could just say, I like the show, or hey, man, Todd,
I know you're out there. We see the downloads. Well, Podomatic downloads. We have no idea how many people listen on iTunes.
Give us a line. It doesn't have to be a bit. You could just say hey. And we'll say hey back.
isthatyourkid@yahoo.com. Let us know who you are. Let us know, because there's people out there who do let us know who they are, and I think they're fucking fantastic.
I think they're pretty cool.
And you know who I like, especially my boy and your boy, Lex. And Lex was very active this week. Lex had wrote into the show, just like you can, some questions. He had some questions for us this week.
Let's just go through it. I'm ready.
And Lex had wrote in. Now some of these, Jake, unfortunately, I don't know if you.
I won't, because if it's Lex, I feel like it's either I feel like it's
Las Vegas stuff.
Las Vegas, which leads me to
Booze.
like bands I don't know, or it's like alcohol stuff.
Yeah. Well, he wrote in and he said, today's Craig Finn's birthday. So favorite Hold Steady / Lifter Puller songs. Craig Finn from the Hold Steady. I don't know if you listen to the Hold Steady. I've listened to the Hold Steady for years. And it's nuts because the Hold Steady is kind of popular, but Craig Finn's former band, Lifter Puller, is not at all. I don't know more than one person that knows them, and then the one person is Lex. And Craig Finn, it's his birthday, and so I will answer that question right off the bat.
Sorry, Lex, I don't know, brother.
My favorite Hold Steady song, the Hold Steady songs, I'm going to go all over the map real quick with you. The Weekenders definitely reminds me of somebody I used to know. Somebody I used to know reminds me of the song The Weekenders for sure. The Swish, which is an older tune. How a Resurrection Really Feels, which is kind of an older tune. Stuck Between Stations, which I guess is, if the Hold Steady has a hit, it's that one. But you can't deny how great that song is. And here's a weird one. It's a B-side, which you may have heard. It's called Ask Her for Adderall. Ask Her for Adderall is like my fucking jam. I love everything about that tune. So quickly, The Weekenders, Stuck Between Station, The Swish, I'm sorry, I've drank too much. How a Resurrection Really Feels, Ask Her for Adderall. Lifter Puller, a little earlier, but Roaming the Foam and Let's Get Incredible. Maybe Let's Get Incredible just for that weird soundbite. And if you know that tune, Lex, Let's Get Incredible, and that soundbite, you're my boy. Next question on the list. Holy cow, hold on. There, bring it up. Least favorite superhero. That's a good one.
Least favorite?
Least favorite superhero. Do you have a least favorite superhero? I'll let you take this one.
I mean, if I had a lineup, I'm sure I have least favorite Pokemon. But least favorite superhero, I gotta say, only because of the name, not because of anything he does or anything he stands for.
Yeah.
And it's obviously he, but it's more his costume and it's more his name, and it's Superman.
Ooh.
Not that I hate him per se. I'm not trying to generate some angst out there, some anger out there. But Superman, I've never really found myself loving what Superman does. I've always felt that Lex Luthor is always more interesting than Superman.
Lex Luthor, okay.
Yeah, I think that's my answer.
I like Superman, man. I do. I like him. I think that I think he's a lot misunderstood a lot, but I like Lex Luthor a bunch too. My vote would probably be, and I guess he's an X-Men, so I don't know if this counts, but maybe it does. Wolverine, I think he's played out. I'm not really into him. I don't know if maybe not he's my least favorite, but he's just so played out, and it's just like, okay. You know, a lot of people write Wolverine okay, but it's just like, I'm just so tired of him popping up in Marvel titles, and I don't read a lot of Marvel titles, and honestly, that's one of the reasons why. So
he
I would
is played
say,
out. He's got way too many
Wolverine.
movies, way too many video games. But I mean, if that was like,
I'm just off the top of my head. I'm sure if I
done,
thought about it more, that I'd find somebody, but really, it's probably Wolverine.
if Wolverine had like a one shot,
yeah,
he has like the coolest. Not the coolest. He has a pretty cool story. I mean, he fought in the Civil War, and some of the backstories that you hear, like he fought in the Civil War. That's pretty cool. And what we just learned was like that's like, what would you say, 1861?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
The Civil War, 1861.
That's a cool backstory. I'll say that. But he is played out.
Yeah,
and like he's cool.
Yeah,
but he's not. He's
that right great. In his place. It's just like, I'm just tired.
He's not that great.
I'm just so tired of him. It's just like, okay, I get it.
I think I don't like Superman for the same reasons that you don't like Wolverine.
You think he's played out? Okay, that's fair. I think that's fair to say.
It's just the fact that he's just super most everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can fly.
Okay. So we have, respectively, Superman and Wolverine as our choices. There was another question. Let me bring up the email again.
Oh, okay. There's more.
Yeah, there's more to it.
Thanks, Lex. This is good.
Predictions for the WNBA playoffs. My predictions, I think Phoenix is going to take it. They're the number 1 seed going in, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're the number 1 seed going in. And they're just overpowering. If there's... because if you think about the 2 seeds, Indiana, they're not even 500. I think they're 15-18 or 16-18. They're the 2 seed. The number 1 seed, Phoenix, I think, takes it. I don't know if you watch the WNBA.
I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't even watch normal.
Yeah. So, I think Phoenix got it, and I hope this is not a gimmick question, because I don't know a lot about the WNBA, but I vaguely follow it. I catch a game maybe 2-3 a year, but I do follow it, like, on SportsCenter and whatnot. I don't have cable myself, but my sister's room has cable, and I'm a loser, so I still live with my family, so I could catch SportsCenter on that. But I got Phoenix for you, Lex, and so I'm hopefully that's not a gimmick question. But you can email us at isthatyourkid@yahoo.com and be the next Lex. You can't be exactly like Lex because Lex is perfect. But you can be close to that. Email us. Let us know. At isthatyourkid on Twitter. isthatyourkid@yahoo.com. Give us your feedback, just like Jake said later.
We're about an hour. We're about an hour in. It doesn't feel like it.
Bro, we have so much more to go. Well, I don't know about so much more, but I got stuff to do. I've got places to be. I mean, let's sleep in a tent, though.
We are sleeping in a tent.
Let's sleep in a tent. But something I've been doing this week, practicing, and for those of you who've listened since Volume 2, we have a couple of instruments in front of us that I'm learning to play. Jake has been playing for years because he's a musician, musical composer as well. And he is teaching me to play the ukulele. And I think the past couple weeks, I've been afraid that I've been disappointing him. But I haven't this week, at least I hope. But this is called Ukes and Zucs. Different intro every week.
Oh man, they're so out of tune. Let's do it!
Let's do it! So, the good ukulele that you hear is, of course, Jake's. The bad one is, of course, me. I'm playing a ukulele shirtless in swim trunks on a Dalmatian's blanket in the very corner of a tent.
This is the coolest we've ever been.
This is the coolest I've ever been. So, Jake has been teaching me some chords.
That's right.
And when I do
learn,
learn,
don't, you know.
when I do learn the ukulele as a whole, I'm going to be playing a song on here, and that's the idea. So Jake is trying to teach me to play a song.
As a whole, I don't even know it as a whole.
As a whole, the ukulele? I'm saying as a whole, the song I'm going to play.
Oh.
Yeah, but so this is the next noise you hear is me. There's that one, and there. How about this one?
I talked to Todd earlier about this, and he described his playing style as very pecky.
Very pecky.
And if you could see, if you could imagine, his right arm is just going, like, you know, it's just down, 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 down.
Yeah, that's it.
Bad. It's not.
That's my one. But you've taught me this one. And then this one.
Yes. There's one more that you know. You have C, F, and the final one is?
It's called G, right?
G, yeah. It's a G chord.
Check this out, brother.
Man, he's doing great. And if you have a ukulele at home, in a closet, in an attic, that's all you need. You could play a lot of songs with just 3 chords. They won't be original or awesome, but you can do a lot with just those 3. So I could tell Todd's been at it. He's been.
I just didn't want to disappoint you. I felt like you thought that I was coming off as somebody who's not trying. I'm trying to really do this. This is something I'm really doing. That's Jake over there doing that. So what I've been working on this week, brother, is I've been working the transitions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That muscle memory.
So do you have any words of wisdom for Ukes and Zucs this week?
I still say, as long as you're getting that 3rd finger on C, that'll help your transitions to F.
Okay. My skin needs to be a little bit more dry like musicians so they could finger the fucking chords, though.
So Todd's taking liberties with, or maybe just making assumptions that musicians have dry skin. And maybe they do. Maybe they do.
This is all me,
So, Todd,
baby.
You know C, F, and G. What would you do if I told you that we're going to learn a new chord tonight?
Yeah, pitch me a new chord,
A
brud.
new chord. You're going to take your index finger.
Yeah.
That is what I would call 1. And you're going to lay that over all 4 strings
Yep.
on the 2nd fret. That's 1 and 2. So
Like this?
in the 2nd fret, I can't see your hands.
How about that? Is that it? I know it's dark because we're sleeping in a tent, but...
Sleeping in a tent. Yep. Then you need to put 2 spaces. That's 1. 2 in between your index.
Yep.
And your pinky needs to be in that last one. So your pinky is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should sound like this. There it is. And that's what it's called. It's another chord, obviously, because there's more than one note at the same time. That is called D major. And you know what the cool part about D major is? It's a barred chord, Todd, so that means you could take it anywhere on the neck as long as you keep those 2 spaces in between.
Ooh, I feel like I'm going to cut open my fingers doing it.
Just don't throw up. You could slide that anywhere. Watch, like this. And it doesn't become, it changes from being D major to other things. But the idea is that because it's a bar chord, you could take that anywhere on the neck and use that in different songs. There it is.
Why does it sound like nothing?
You need to push down a little harder. Just that pinch motion that I was talking about. Your thumb should be right behind your index finger on the neck. There you go. Yeah. Make sure
There's
you
nothing
really push
doing.
it down. And this is something. And this is anyone that has ever played a stringed instrument like guitar or uke maybe. A bar chord is something that you'll never get right the first or 10th time you do it. It's gotta be.
It all sounds like bump, 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 bump.
You're saying it sounds like.
Yeah.
What? Instead of.
You hear this, everyone? That's
Rather
not what it sounds like. I got it. Mine like screams at the end. Mine's like hemp, hemp,
Hemp.
like hemp.
It's here. Let me play you 2 different versions. Here's the one. That's not it. That's not me. Or it's basically the push motion.
Let's try
So
this.
that's it. You gotta practice that D major, and guess what, Todd?
Don't be
then-
disappointed in me.
I'm not.
Don't be
doing
disappointed in
great.
me right now.
And
I'm
then-
trying.
That D major, I already told the audience while you were practicing that that's something that no one can do the first time.
I heard you said or 10th time.
Yeah.
I
So
pay attention.
see.
You know? I mean, I make fake music though. But
For now.
yeah, for now, but I will practice that for next week. But you know who makes real music is our musical guest this week. And our musical guest this week, he's actually Brady Lansendorfer, who heads this band. He actually was a former student of mine at my former school. But since then, he's become such a great friend of mine. And illegally, actually, and I could say this now that we're out of school, he and I saw Tim and Eric together one time back when he was a student and back when we weren't supposed to hang out, but we did. And we're actually going to see Tim and Eric again in October together. So, Brady... when I actually, and Brady knows this because he listens, but when I first wanted to have bands on this podcast, he was one of the bands I first thought about. He fronts a lo-fi indie band out of Pittsburgh, and they're called Yours. And they're actually playing, I believe it's September 27th at Bates Hardcore Gym in Pittsburgh alongside the Spirit of the Beehive, Queen Jesus, and Denzel. You can check out Yours on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Brady/Lansendorfer. And Brady Lansendorfer is spelled B-R-A-D-Y for Brady, and Lansendorfer is L-A-N-Z-E-N-D-O-R-F-E-R. And I know that's a hell of a last name to spell, so I'm going to go ahead and put them on our Tumblr as well, isthatyourkid.tumblr.com. We'll throw the song up here. But this is Yours at Space Coast, Ghost to Ghost.
Smell of you, still perfume, and a tune I know. I need my best friend. Every chill I mistake for you. How can I memorize things that aren't you? But still I never thought to point my longboard at the sky and fly away from all our dreams to where we go. Hear my screams and steady on. Still it seems to ghost through the ghost of what used to be.
And once again, that was Space Coast, Ghost to Ghost by Yours. If you'd like to have your band featured on our show, drop Jake or I a line at isthatyourkid@yahoo.com. We'll put you on. We went through a lot of stuff. I still have some stuff to go, but I think that we are good to go to save that till next week.
I think that's good.
I think we can save that to next week because I think this is one of my favorite episodes. And any time that I get to spend one-on-one time alone with you is some of my favorite evenings. And I hope you enjoy doing this as much as I do. That's just friend, no other stuff.
That's just friend stuff.
So, Jake, as we sit in this tent in your yard, sitting on gargoyle and Dalmatian blankets respectively, we're going to be sleeping within 3 feet of one another. Hopefully it doesn't rain on us like it's already done once. I want to throw it over you, as I always do, to end this episode out. Go, brother.
Shout out to everyone that helped us have a great time in New York City. That was an absolute blast. You helped make my Jake-cation complete.
Your Jake Summer.
Jake Summer.
Because we're heading on to September soon, brother. I hate to tell you, but summer is over. This is our end of summer party.
I'm okay with that, because I had a great summer. And I would just like to actually end on a request, and it's sort of a concern.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that I've run out of scary movies to watch. That's it.
We'll see you soon, fall.
See you soon, September.
There's a zipper
because
on the roof?
freeze monsters have zippers, and what he did is he jumped on the zipper, it unzipped,
okay.
and then he just cracked up, and he said, and there was nothing but parents inside.
Nothing but parents inside the
Nothing but parents.